Trade deadline on the horizon, Four Nations Cup looming, and a big week of fantasy hockey on tap, and you're tapped right back in to the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast and all of the must-add waiver wire targets that you need for the upcoming week, and of course, big-time bets. Let's get this paper.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
There is a lot going on in the NHL right now. The hockey world is abuzz, and that's why you're checking out the latest edition of your daily source for fantasy hockey, NHL news, and betting breakdowns, the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook, where right now, new customers get $5 down and win, score $200 in bonus bets. Super Bowl 59 is here, baby. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Steele, we're going to get started to a number of very intriguing fantasy targets, but I ain't lying. The NHL is absolutely a buzz, and that's why I got to give that shout out to the everydayers holding us down, making us your first listen every single day. We're trying to give it to you guys 30 minutes, Monday through Friday, in and out. So, waiver wire target, Steele, week 17. Time is running out here for a lot of GMs out there looking to make a move. There's some intriguing names flying around here. Injuries, line shuffles, new faces in new places. Over to you before we get to bets. I got a number of targets and some honorable mentions, but I'm intrigued to see where you're looking this week.
Yeah, we got a mixed bag of players on today's episode. Six weeks left until the Fantasy Hockey League playoffs start. So time is of the essence right now if you're fighting for a playoff spot. Every week matters, especially Mondays when you can pick up those waiver wire targets to start the week for your weekly matchups. One and number two guys for me this week from the Anaheim Ducks. I've mentioned them before, especially Troy Terry at 25%. I'm also adding Mason McTavish into the bag here at 8% right now. They've got 3 games this week. First game against the Seattle Kraken, then you've got the Calgary Flames and the Montreal Canadiens. So I really like the schedule for the Anaheim Ducks, even though it's not 4 like some of the other players we're going to be talking about. But really solid play of late from both Mason McTavish and Troy Terry. 5 points for Terry in his last 5. 6 points in his last 5 games for McTavish. 5 of those being goals. He has 5 goals in his last 3. So McTavish is feeling the puck right now. He's feeling the confidence. They're firing on all cylinders. I like the 2 of them right there because you get, they're out there available in most leagues right now. Yahoo, especially ESPN, a little bit different, but still available. But I like these 2 players and how they're playing with confidence. They're moving the puck nice. The power play and penalty kill is still pretty bad for the Anaheim Ducks, but
of course,
these are 2 guys that can catch fire. They're catching fire right now, so you got to catch them on the hot.
Got to dig into the trenches, Steele. That's been a theme. That's going to have to be an angle covered by any GM trying to make a last-ditch effort here. Some people like myself, Steele, they're well out of it. Goose is cooked. But you got to still tap into some of these week-to-week situations, even on bad teams. Mason McTavish has been a player that I have talked a lot about on this podcast over the last couple of years, has all the tools. I believe he was a 2nd or 3rd overall draft pick only a few seasons back. So I love that you're talking about Mason McTavish. He's looking like he's got some of that mojo back, little pep in the step. I love it. 2 quick honorable mentions off the top. Bobby McMahon is getting to play right now on the top line for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he is making the most of it. He has looked very comfortable over his last 5 games as well. 2 goals, 4 assists. And if you're playing with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, I want a piece of it. The only reason why it's catching honorable mention is because the Toronto Maple Leafs only play twice this week, and I believe they're not favorable opponents as well. Wild, Oilers, then Flames, Canucks, Kraken. So it gets a little better, but I like it as a perhaps add and hold. If you do need a forward, I like Bobby McMahon. Second honorable mention, Drew Doughty is nearing return. He's traveling with the team. He should resume his top power play spot on the LA Kings, a team that has their offensive outbursts. 74 on Fantrax, 60 on Yahoo, 37 on ESPN. Obviously going to be somewhat tricky to go out there and grab him, but if he is out there in your league, I'm flagging him. I'm grabbing him now. Also, Steele, the Kings have 4 games this week, so he's going to be back in there at some point, and Drew Doughty is a beast. So those are my 2 honorable mentions, and I'll just drop my 3rd guy because I know you want to talk about him anyway, so I'll turn it right back over to you. Tony DeAngelo is getting a very good opportunity here on an Islanders team who is playing excellent hockey. And I don't know if you saw Patty Waugh after the game and Tony DeAngelo's debut, in which he played 22 minutes. Head coach, he's looking sensational out there, Steele. And I know it's Tony DeAngelo, but with Dobson out, he's getting a look on the top power play. And I love this opportunity. 4 games this week for the Isles as well.
Actually played 25 minutes for Tony DeAngelo, so he got a lot of ice time, especially with Noah Dobson out of the lineup with his injury. He's going to be seeing a lot of ice and a lot of opportunity, especially quarterbacking that power play. That's exactly what this Islanders team needs right now. They need someone who can facilitate, who can jump up in the play, be that mindset from the back end, and really create those chances, which they've struggled with this season. We know the Islanders struggled to score goals. Tony DeAngelo, as that defenseman on the power play, he's going to be able to facilitate those plays and set up his teammates, which I also want to add Brock Nelson into the mix. A little bit tougher to get him on the team. He's rostered at 53% right now on Yahoo. If he's available, I would definitely try to add him as soon as possible. He's got 6 points in his last 5 games, 3 goals and 3 assists in the last 5. So Brock Nelson, Bo Horvat, that top line is firing right now. Tony DeAngelo on the back end, rostered at 7% right now. Really like him, so I like that we're on the same page with those two players, with Tony DeAngelo for this upcoming week. Like you said, 4 games, I believe, on the schedule for the New York Islanders. Avalanche, Flyers, Lightning, and Panthers. Definitely a tough schedule for them. They're currently on a 4-game winning streak, so hopefully they can keep that ball rolling into this week with a tough schedule. Real quickly before I throw it back over to you, I want to talk about Cam Talbot because another guy that I really, really like. A little bit tougher to get as well, 43% on Yahoo. 4 games this week. The LA Kings, the Edmonton Oilers, the Calgary Flames, and the Vancouver Canucks. It's going to be a 3-game road trip to end this week for the Detroit Red Wings. They're also coming off a 2-0 shutout against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, they've been looking pretty good.
Definitely a lot better than we saw back in November and December. Turned things around, a 906 save percentage and a 2.90 goals against average for Cam Talbot, 13-10-2. I think he's going to get at least 3 starts, definitely 100% 2 for this upcoming week. But the way he's playing right now, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 3.
I love that you're staying on brand with Cam Talbot every couple of weeks. You got to pop up and hold it down.
Gotta mention.
And he's been one of those goaltenders that I would look at as, if you do have a bona fide 1-2, he's a beautiful stream. He's a beautiful fill-in, great backup goaltender in terms of fantasy who really does have good career numbers, and he can go red hot. And when he's putting up shutouts, you got to talk about it also. What's tough with both the Red Wings and Islanders to talk about go out there and get them, aside from those tricky schedules, both these teams really struggle to score goals, especially the New York Islanders. Kind of been their MO over the last number of years. They've only scored 128 goals. That's 4th least in the NHL, and the Red Wings not far off that. So when you're talking about like the overall offensive output from both those teams, bit of a tough sell, but you got to get nitty gritty, Steele. We've already talked about it. Let's talk about another player that I think both you and I are on, and we mentioned it so we can keep it close. We got more guys coming up after the break. Big time bets. I got a same game parlay ready to cook all week, baby. We got the content coming Monday through Friday, 7 in the morning. We're back on track here. Don't miss a single episode. Drop us that 5-star written review. Means the world to both Steele and I. Very quickly, Steele, it's got to be Jake Allen, right? 39% Fantrax, 31 Yahoo, 10 ESPN, Flyers, Sabres this week. And then I believe a very easy week the following. Jake Allen's got to be an add-in keep right now on a good Devils team. He's going to get a lion's share of those goaltending starts. Got to be Jake Allen in the cage this week as the number 1 target out there in the blue paint.
Yeah, I also have him on the list. He's already up 23% in the last week with Jacob Markstrom's injury. He's going to get the win
Saturday night.
Got the win Saturday night. Jack Hughes, I believe, tied or becomes the leading franchise for the New Jersey Devils with 8 game-winning goals in overtime. So big win for the Devils as they continue to try to catch that top spot in the Metropolitan. But Jake Allen, currently at 31% on Yahoo, up 43% in the last week. He's going to get the run out with Jacob Markstrom out of the lineup. So that's the go-to guy alongside Cam Talbot. If you need to stream some goalies, there's a lot out there. Those would be my top 2 suggestions for week 17.
Love it, Steele. We got you covered on today's episode. Some forwards, some blue liners, and of course, in the blue paint, You got to be checking out bets at the end of the episode where you can be placing those bets is with our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59 is here, baby. One game, two teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first tutty, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss steal. You know we like to get degenerate around here. I'm going to be sprinkling on all of those. FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action with live betting all game long. Adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets on the Super Bowl, icing on the cake, baby. Download the app today or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Just $5 down and win. You score $200 back in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 59.
Let's go Bills, baby. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Pod your first listen every single day. Continue to smash that subscribe button, the follow button, leave a 5-star review. Flip and I appreciate all that love and support. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So keep sharing with your friends and family out there. It really does mean the world to us, seeing all of the feedback and the love and support from all of our listeners out there. So thank you so much for all of that. That's why we do what we do, especially with waiver wire targets and big time bets at the end of the episode. Flip, over to you, my friend. Couple more guys I have in the chamber right now that I want to talk about, but who are you looking at for this upcoming week?
I think I got to show some love to Morgan Geeky, another situation of a player that I like and who's been playing very well with a good opportunity right now on the top line with David Pastrnak and Pavel Zacha. And I know Pavel Zacha doesn't exactly jump off the page, but he's been putting up points, and so is Pasta. But the Boston Bruins fall into the category of the previous two teams we were just talking about in the Red Wings and the Islanders in terms of struggling to score goals. They sit well outside of the top half of the league in goals scored as well. So somewhat of a hard sell. But Morgan Geeky is red hot, Steele. He's got 5 goals in his last 5 games. Ice time is up. He's averaging well over 17 and a half, almost 18 minutes in ice time per night. You know I love that. And the kid throws his weight around. Take in this stat line from the other night. 2 shots on net, a block shot, 5 hits, a goal, +3, and he gets a couple of pims as well. This kid right now, very hot, streaky, stream him. Right now, perfect time to grab a piece of Morgan Geeky. And let me just bring up the week as well. Sabres, Jets, Rangers, mixed bag, but I'll take it. 26 on Fantrax, 9 on Yahoo, and 4 on ESPN. We got to give you guys some options where you can almost for sure go out and grab them. I say Morgan Geeky this week is right there at the top of the list.
Yeah, big game for him against the Colorado Avalanche. Tuned into that one. I believe he had a couple goals there. But yeah, he's playing on that top line. David Pastrnak, if you're playing with a guy of that caliber, you got to go pick up his line mate in Morgan Geeky. Good schedule for this upcoming week. I'm heading back to the Detroit Red Wings. I just want to mention this guy because he is under 5% rostered right now. It's a little bit of a hit or miss with this guy, I believe, but he's playing on the top line with Dylan Larkin. I'm looking at Marco Kasper, former 8th overall pick in the 2022 draft. Deep cut here, 15 points in 44 games. In the last 4 games, he's getting close to 16 minutes of average ice time. He's got the peripherals are pretty good for a guy for 20 years old in his first year in the NHL. 67 shots, 75 hits, 22 blocks. I think just playing on that top line might give him a lot of confidence. Like you said, Detroit is a team that doesn't score a lot of goals, but if you're looking to streamline a player, you're looking to get some extra games in there, 4 games on the schedule, like I said, for Detroit. So Marco Kasper could be an opportunity for you to go pick him up this week. Final guy for me, I'm looking at Chandler Stevenson of the Seattle Kraken. This is not a player. This is not a player that you go and pick and add to your team for the peripheral stats. I mean, this guy literally pretty much does nothing on the outside or the different aspects of the game. This season, the peripherals are pretty bad. Only 19 hits, 30 blocks, 47 shots. I mean, this guy shoots less than a shot a game. It's weird to me, but he has a 17 shooting percentage right now. He's got 8 goals, 35 points in 49 games. That's what you're looking at right now. If you're going to go pick up Chandler Stevenson, you're not getting blocks, you're not getting hits, you're not getting shots. It's really the assist category that you're looking at. Sometimes a goal here and there, but Chandler Stevenson for me is a good pickup this week. I believe they also have 4 games on the schedule. They do the Edmonton Oilers, the Anaheim Ducks, the San Jose Sharks, and the Calgary Flames. So I actually really like the schedule this week.
Pretty good, yeah, pretty good.
But yeah, Chandler Stevenson is a guy that you're only pretty much going to get offensive production. The peripherals are non-existent.
It falls into the same theme as a bunch of the other players, Steele. It's not pretty at this time of year. You got to take a look at some of these intangibles, some of these teams that might not be super sexy. And actually, you know how I feel about the Seattle Kraken. I think that team is very, very average. However, exactly what you got to do right now. And the same thing could perhaps hold true for when you're looking at some young pieces. And I'm taking a look at Barrett Hayton right now on Utah, who's playing some really good hockey. He's got 2 game-winning goals in the last 3 as well, Steele, including 4 goals in his last 3 games. Red hot. The deployment isn't exactly, again, super sexy. He's playing the second power play unit, but I kind of like it. Lawson Krause, Michelli, John Marino on the back end. This is a kid, though, in Barrett Hayton that I really love his game. 24 years old. This is a former 5th overall pick that has been very slow to develop, and I think you're really starting to see what he can do at the offensive end. This is also a Utah hockey club, because I can't say Yeti anymore. You know how I feel about that as well. This is a Utah hockey club that is feeling it offensively, Steele. Big win over Seattle, then a big win over Winnipeg, 4-0 against Minnesota. Then Winnipeg gets some revenge, but the offense is rolling. They have scored, let me tell you this up here, they've scored 18 goals over their last 5 games, so the offense is clicking, and I want a piece of it. Barrett Hayton, impressing me, playing with confidence. Also, let me just bring up the ownership, 37 Fantrax, 13 Yahoo, and 11 ESPN, and my favorite part, Blue Jackets, Blues, and Penguins this week. Very advantageous week for this young Utah club to keep shooting, and I expect that to happen. So tap into that for some betting angles as well. I don't know what you think about Barrett Hayton overall, Steele, because he's been very kind of inconsistent and streaky, and I know fantasy owners out there have kind of, this guy's giving them fits because he'll go nothing and then he'll go hot, but right now he's hot and I want a piece.
Yeah, I mean, he's hot right now, and I think that's what matters going into the week, especially with the schedule. But he's been subpar for me. I mean, I remember when we talked at the beginning of the at the beginning of the season, we talked about some of the top 5 Utah Hockey Club players to keep an eye on for. We were in depth on Barrett Hayton and the expectations we had this year, and again, just one of those players that can't find consistency in his game. So 8 points in his last 5 is great, but 26 points and 48 on the season. The peripherals have been pretty lackluster as well. Only 14 hits and 26 blocks, 77.
Yeah, you're getting him for offense for sure.
You're getting him for offense, but I mean, just again, go back to his career year of 43 points. He had 83 hits. He had 178 shots. There just seems to be a lack of confidence in his decision making that we're just not seeing there. So I like that you mentioned him because he's playing great right now, but he could easily just turn it off just like he did turn it on. So, yeah, definitely go pick him up with the schedule they've got going this week. But as soon as he gets cold again, you got to drop him from the roster. But I like that we've talked about a couple of young guys, some defensemen, goaltenders, forwards on today's episode for waiver wire targets. After the break, we're coming back with big time bets, 5 games on the schedule. Flip has a same game parlay. Steele has a same game parlay. I have a feeling it's going to come from the same game as well. So I'm loving this one going into Monday night. We're coming back after the break with big time bets. And once again, thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Pod your first listen every single day. Continue to smash that subscribe button. Share with your friends and family out there. We really do appreciate all the feedback, all the comments on Twitter, on YouTube. We'll try to get back to you as soon as possible when we see that. But yes, continue to do so. We love the dialogue. We love the conversations.
Yes,
The casual and competitive league are absolutely firing right now. We've got a competitive aspect in every single thing we're doing right now. It's getting tight with the last 6-7 weeks before the playoffs. Flip, I see you on Sunday. You're on the waiver wire. You're picking up some players early here.
I'm getting desperate, Steele. I'm getting desperate.
You got some work to do, but I absolutely believe in you, buddy. So it's time to put it's time to get in 5th gear right here. We're getting after it. Big time bets, though. Where are you looking? I have a feeling it's coming from the same game.
Well, It's got to be the Seattle Kraken rolling into the Edmonton Oilers, in my opinion. I've spoken a
Yes.
lot about what I think the Edmonton Oilers are going to do in this second half, and I thought they were going to be one of those juggernaut-like teams. And obviously, this little McDavid wrinkle is something that they've had to deal with, but they've played well in their last 2 games. Yes, it is Buffalo and Vancouver, but let me hit you with a few facts and why this is a same-game parlay. Number 1, Edmonton Oilers on the money line. 9-1-0, the Edmonton Oilers against the Seattle Kraken. They have taken it to the Seattle Kraken. Number 2, I like this one to go over the number. Both offenses seem to be kind of feeling it right now. I know the Kraken got shut out in between 2 good offensive performances. However, they've been scoring goals. The Edmonton Oilers, they get their talisman back. McDavid will be back in the lineup tonight after his 3-game suspension steal. Perfect team to return against and blow the doors off them. So I like the over at 5.5. I'm going to take it down to 5.5 because the last 3 games have all hovered right there at the 6-goal mark. But I think this one's going to go over the total in a hurry. But I'm okay with it because of my lock of the night, and I'm smashing them all together. So on the money line, Oilers, over 5.5, favorite pick of the night. I don't even care that it's a 3-game absence. He's been on the ice every day. He's been working. He's hungry, and he's angry. Connor McDavid, 2+ points in his career, 12 career regular season games, 19 points for 97. Hit me with 2+ points. I don't care any way I'll get him, Steele. 1 goal, 1 assist, 3 assists. I don't care. Those are the picks. Lock of the night, 2+ points for McJesus. I think it's a big homecoming. 3 games out. He's cheesed. He's going to come in red hot.
You know we're going in Monday with the absolute confidence when Flip and I have the exact same picks here.
Whoa.
Same game parlay. I also had the over 6.5. I feel you here. I might tease it down to the over 5.5, depending on what the odd is. Pre-game here.
Yep.
But Oilers Kraken, it's going over the number. It's gone over the number more frequently than not in these matchups.
6 of 9 or something like that.
6 of 9 it is. I'm also there is a slight change here. I'm going to take the Oilers on the puck line against the Seattle Kraken. 9 wins in the last 10. Like you said, 9-0-1. 7 of those wins have been by 2 or more goals.
Boom.
7 games actually have been over the total. So I'm also with you. I might tease it down to the over 5.5. I'm going to take the Oilers on the puck line just because of the reason you just said. McDavid is going to be shot out of a cannon out of missing the last 3 games. So my lock of the night as well, McDavid 2+ points in this matchup. I love the same game parlay. I do have an honorable mention out here that I want to talk about. I'm looking at this Red Wings Kings game. I'm going to take the under 6.5 in this matchup. 10 of the last games for the LA Kings have gone well under the number. 10 straight games have gone under. But when you look at the matchups between the Red Wings and Kings, they've also gone under the number in the last 5. For the Red Wings specifically, 5 straight unders in their last 5 games right now.
Juicy.
The under 6.5 is feeling this one. That's going to be an honorable mention for me. I might make that into a separate parlay. I'm going to do a separate, a single same game parlay with all those Oilers picks we just talked about. But honorable mention, Kings and Red Wings under 6.5 in this matchup.
Love when you dig into the numbers, Steele. It gets me fired up. Let's have a big week. I cannot believe that the fantasy playoffs are only 6 weeks away. That is bizarre. Sooner than later, also, playoffs are going to roll upon us as well, just in terms of regular NHL hockey. So lots to get to on this podcast, and I'm ready to get there with you, pal.
We're absolutely feeling it going into Monday night. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Pod your first listen every single day. For your second listen, make sure you go check out the Locked On NHL podcast, where the season never ends, providing national expertise with a local perspective. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Once again, from both Flip and I, we wish you good luck with your bets tonight. Your weekly matchups, it's crunch time right now, baby. So get after it, and we shall see you back here again tomorrow.
Peace.